Welcome. I am Abigail Quinlan, and our key speaker today is Mazarine. She is a nonprofit leadership coach, a speaker, a best-selling author, and we just talked for the last 15 minutes, and I really enjoy her. So I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun today. But before we jump into her presentation, I just want to go over some key things about CauseVox. If you're new here, we are helping to solve your fundraising pain points. So we have the best-in-class fundraising platform. We have hands-on support, and it's a top-rated fundraising education. So things like today, where we are learning how to keep our good fundraisers. You're able to raise more with less effort with all of the key features of CauseVox. You're able to take away that clunky, complex, contract-bound software, and you have some user-friendly and really easy to use back-end materials for your fundraising needs. And it's also really cool because you can modernize and brand your content with CauseVox. It looks like your organization with our platform. You have a campaign for anything, easy to launch fundraising strategies for your giving days, your annual campaigns. You're able to really drive those donations, especially with the branding for your nonprofit. And a lot of hands-free peer-to-peer fundraising, especially with this mobilized network that we all have. The pandemic has shown us that we do not need to be in person to really make a difference. And our peer-to-peer fundraising is amazing to really maximize on that capacity. We even have an events ticketing format, so you can integrate that with all of your events, and a donation installation. So all of your pledges, any monthly giving, you have that option to just autopilot it. All right, so let's jump in our session agenda. We're going to look at some new trends in worker preferences, the strategies to reducing overhead cost, how to increase employee happiness, tangible steps to promote DEI, and writing effective job descriptions, which is something I'm really looking forward to, especially in today's day and age. You looked at the LinkedIn descriptions and you're really confused what they expect you to be doing. Mazarine also said that if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the Q&A box throughout the session. She's happy to answer those as we get going. All right, I'm going to turn it over.
Yay! Oh, I love it, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, Diana, you're so sweet. I am gonna let you all take the lead in telling me how you are. So if you could just drop a link for the Google Slides in the chat, Abigail, that would be wonderful. Because let's just check in about our feelings right now. Okay, we have got a lot going on. I know a lot of us here have had various struggles in the last couple of years. And so I just want to give you some jokes to start with. This year's been so transformative for me. For example, I don't think about anything anymore. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what or who or even where I am. On the West Coast here, we had a lot of fires. Also, Colorado had some fires recently. So I put some fires in here. And then sorry for the delay in getting back to you. I was experiencing a profound personal crisis amidst the rapid decline of civil society. So anyway, just to make you laugh and cry at the same time. This is a crazy time. So I wanted to get you to tell me how you're feeling anonymously. If you want to write on these slides, you are welcome to. That's why I gave you the link. So feel free to come over here and say how you're feeling. You can also put this in the chat box in Zoom. Whatever. Burned out. Yeah, you know it. You know it. Like, where did my motivation go? Like, why is it so hard to get things done? That's my question. Overwhelmed and disconnected. Oh, have a completely inactive board, deflated, ready to quit. Yeah, that's super hard. Yeah, thank you for putting that in here too. Yeah. Board is also very difficult. Yeah. Employee retention, finding good new employees. Yeah, it's really hard. Jackie said burned out, team of one for development, comms, volunteers, and org get tripled in size. Yeah. And another person said inspired. Awesome. I'm glad one person's feeling inspired. That's good. Unreasonable expectations from leadership when frontline fundraisers are exhausted. Yeah. So how do we keep them, right? Overwhelmed. Yep. Too busy. We are a disaster response team. Whoa. Okay. That's a lot of words. All right. Challenging. Yep. Yep. Okay. Generally over it. Yeah. That's how a lot of us are feeling. In constant hiring and training mode, not getting to do any real work, right? So how do we get you more time to do what you need to do? We'll talk about that today. Beth said board member shortage and shortage of nursing staff. I have a great boss who supports me. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. We're not going to be boss bashing today. We're really going to be doing like a structural analysis. So just let you know. I'm glad you're inspired. That's anyone else feel free to just, go in here and type it in. And then I'm gonna ask you if you feel like you've vented a little bit about how you feel. We're gonna go to the next part of this. In planning phase right now, so people are trying to focus on wellness programs with staff, how to promote work-life balance while still being productive. Yeah, it's like, is that a myth? Is that impossible right now? Like, we have more stress response than we've ever had before. I know that you're a consultant as well, Abigail, is that what you're seeing too?
By far. And the primary reason I'm brought on is because people are tapped out. The creativity levels are gone. What marketing professionals had when they came in is just zapped. Fundraising professionals just really looking for rejuvenated energy.
Yeah, it's super hard. I know one of the people on the webinar today actually texted me right before we got on, and she was just like, maybe it's time for a job change. And I was like, maybe it is. And that's a separate webinar where we help you find a different job. That's a separate webinar. This is gonna be how to, make the most of what you have right now. So now I'm gonna ask people that are in the Google Slides to go in here and just take a little star or a little moon and or a little shape or a smiley face and go in and say, what kind of turnover have you had in the last couple of years? You can also put this in the chat. Everyone has stayed put, a little turnover at the staff or board level or lots of turnover. And surprise, turnover in all these levels can also mean lots of donors are gone too, right? And because people take the relationships with them. Okay, people are saying lots of turnover in the chat. Bassam said lots of turnover. Margaret said lots. Nadine said lots. Robin said lots. One person said a little turnover, but 3 additional staffers in the development department. Okay, good. So you're investing more in fundraising. That is very, very good thing to do. Oh man, people are just going crazy in the chat. A little turnover. I've had 89% in the last 6 months. Oh my God, Danielle, you're really experiencing the Great Resignation. Denise said lots. Lydia said lots. Judy said some. Hey, Judy. Rachel said stayed put. Awesome. Pilar said lots of turnover. Our ED is leaving in June, so I'm trying to maintain relationships. That's really hard. Single person development shop. I am not leaving. Good. But what about your board or your other staff? Are they leaving? 15% turnover as in the last 3 months. Wow, Jamie, that's a lot. None, but some retirements coming this year. So you will have it, Liz. Yeah. Oh my God, everybody's just going crazy in the chat. Tanya said lots and more to come. I bet. 20% said Sally. Robin said should also add that finding replacements for these leaving has been tough. Robin, no kidding. No kidding, right? Robert said surprisingly we have had additions. Good. So looking here at what people have done inside the turnover in the Google Slides, yeah, lots of turnover as well. A lot of people have said a little turnover here, and only a couple people said everyone has stayed put. So you can just see what you're experiencing. You're not alone. Everybody is at different stages, but a lot of us are just like right over here. So thank you for playing with me. No time to onboard. Yeah. So that's part of like the problem, right? That's part of the problem. So I'm gonna share my slides, and then I'm gonna share them again when I put it on full screen, so you can see. See if I do that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we'll go in here, and then we're gonna just keep asking questions, keep active in the chat. We're gonna be watching that, and I'm gonna be asking Abigail also for her advice and opinions. And if anybody here has any other suggestions, I think we can all learn from each other. I'm here to learn from you too. So I think we have like hundreds of years of experience in this room right now. So let's get in. So a bit about me. I wrote this book, and I've written 10 e-courses about fundraising. I've risen up from like development associate to development director. And for the last 10 years, I've really been a nonprofit workplace advocate. And so last year I did a couple of conferences called The Party at the End of the Patriarchy. This year, I'm going to be doing a career conference in March and then the Party at the End of the Patriarchy in July. And if you want to get the deets on that, totally sign up at mazarinetrace.com. Just go to my email. And I promise I don't email you that much. People here who are on my list, I don't email you that much, at least not right now. But anyway, so I love creating community with us, the people that really want to make the world a better place and are determined and motivated to do that. And so I love fundraisers. I love fundraising. I don't really love the sector, but I love we're trying to be here together to make a better world for ourselves and others. So yeah, I love helping people ask for more. So that's kind of what you need to know about me. So first poll question, Abigail, if you could please launch that. Have you ever tried to hire a fundraising person before? Yes, sort of, but didn't work out, or no? Feel free to just type that in, and then we'll have another one after this. Sally said yes.
We're pretty neck and neck. We have about 56% that say yes and 42 that say no.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, let's close the poll. And awesome. That's wonderful. So today is going to be hopefully useful for everybody here, especially people who are never had to hire a fundraising person before, or maybe you're doing that for the first time. So thank you. Next one. You've had a fundraising person before. What happened? Did they not raise enough money? So we fired them, or they left? Personality conflicts, or something else? Aisha said no. Very good. And if you said something else, oh, I'd be curious. Did they just find a better job with higher money and they just put it away?
Yeah, if it was something else, 81% say something else. So if it's something else, drop that in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, tell us. Some worked out, some didn't. A mix. Not applicable. Okay. Looking to move up, right? New opportunity, often with higher pay. Denise, you're going to find out that that's super common. Bassam said the same thing. Yeah. Sally said something else, did not spend time needed to find new funding streams. Same, Jenny. Yep. Thanks, everybody. Is the poll about done at this point, or?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, change their mind before they started. Okay, that kind of says something about that, about your job description or something, or about how people were communicated with. Joni said nearly fired them, but we demoted to part-time and rolled out an intense micromanagement schedule until he got better. I was working with upgrade to full-time, but took a ton of work to train. Okay, wow. All right, I probably would have left if I had a micromanagement schedule. All right, so here's what we're learning today. We're actually not going to talk about happiness. We're going to talk about satisfaction, because happiness is a byproduct of satisfaction. So similar, but different. So we're going to talk about new trends and worker preferences, like you said, strategies to reduce overhead, increasing employee satisfaction, tangible steps towards promoting DEI, really going to go there, and then writing effective job descriptions. We'll talk about that too. But a lot of this that we're going to talk about today, you're going to see it's going to go directly into the job description. So Great Resignation, we're obviously already experiencing this. A lot of us are like, wow, tons of turnover, or some turnover, or just people retiring, right? So if you want to know more about that, there's some links here. Yeah, they were offered free tuition. Well, you can't really compete with free tuition, honestly. So donor-centered leadership. This is before the Great Resignation. Fundraisers were staying an average of 18 months, right? So if you've been at your organization longer than 18 months and you're a fundraiser, wow, you're saving them so much money and you're making them so much money. So nonprofits are losing millions of dollars every year. Now they're losing even more. I actually have a chart about how much they're losing in my blog post on what happens when you don't pay a living wage. So if you want to check that out, from Donor-Centered Leadership, it's like $100 book. Like, you don't have to buy it. But check out this blog post, because it's it'll show your boss, wow, this is how much you're going to lose if you don't keep me. Or this is how much we're losing because we're not keeping these people, right? So she says you get what you pay for. CEOs were asked what's the number one issue that caused your preferred candidate to decline your offer. 58% cited the salary. And CEO said salary is the number one reason for premature resignation of their chief fundraiser. So that's echoing a lot of what people have said in the chat. Yeah, so as I said, you're not alone. Can I put those links in the chat? Yeah, I can. Yeah,
We
absolutely.
could also share them in the follow-up email.
That's a good idea, Abigail. Thank you. Good idea. So if you're paying your fundraiser less than 6 figures, I want you to take a look at this. I got this from the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which you can totally find in Google online. For US, if you're in Canada, there'll be a different one. But you want to look at the Charity Village salary report in that case. But $56 an hour for public relations and fundraising managers is now becoming the average. And they have over 5 years experience. If you're not getting up there with that, what's up with that? There were 89,000 of these jobs in 2020, and they're rising faster than average, like 13% increase rate every single year of these jobs. So your potential employees not only have options, they have people willing to pay them way more. So if you're not getting paid this much, and I think probably most of us here are not, ask yourself, I wonder what else is out there. And so you can also look at glassdoor.com and salary.com to see what's average for your particular region and the jobs that you're looking at. But I wanted to share this with you because this is, relevant. That's baloney. Yeah, it is. It depends on the sector, Pilar, absolutely. So if you're, but there's going to be 11,000 more of these jobs from now till 2030. So that means that they need to pay you if they want to keep you. Doesn't the salary depend on the volume of income that an org is bringing in? Bassam, yeah. If you're a smaller org, people are going to leave you to get a higher salary though. So you might as well try to at least pay them more per hour. Look here, $56 an hour, and just have them work part-time. Like that is the thing. Sally, same thing. Have them work 3 days a week and pay them $56 an hour. Yeah, great question. So CEOs are saying this, fundraisers are saying this, basically, salary is number one reason people leave. And if they leave, you're gonna have to pay over 110% of their salary to get another person. So it's in your best interest to pay them as competitively as you possibly can. So it takes somebody 12 months to get up to speed in a new fundraising job. And most of the time that job is vacant for longer than a month. And so then people here have already said, I'm spending so much of my time training new people, or like, this is such a process to get somebody to actually do all this work. Like it's taking away the productivity from other folks. So you need to use this to like convince your boss to pay people more. Let me give this to you. So bottom line, don't try to get someone for the lowest salary possible. Don't hire somebody fresh out of school who will work for $15 an hour. They can make that now a lot of different places. Do hire someone part-time at a higher rate of pay, like I said, because this is why. Great, so you get that. People are not as committed as part-time. Pilar, that's true. So talk with them about what they really want and see if you can get people to give you more time, and see if you can, like, as they bring in more money, give them more money to become more full-time. That's the thing I would recommend.
I would also push that into what your nonprofit mission is and making sure that the people align with that mission, because if they're not committed with the mission, they're not going to be committed if they're full-time either.
Yeah, but that said, like a lot of times passion for the mission is a dog whistle for we're going to exploit you. So you really, I mean, like I agree and I disagree with you, Abigail. I feel like people should care, but also we shouldn't be exploiting people who care. That's what I think. So, but hire someone with the experience that like basically of the size of the nonprofit that you have, not someone who's worked at a really big organization now. It's like going to a tiny one and being like, oh yeah, I can totally do this. Like they're probably used to having a lot more resources than you can actually give them. And that can be something that will like bite them in the butt later, you know? So check their numbers. Have they kept their donors? Have they gotten new donors? Have they ever made a 6-figure ask? Have they gotten a lot of fundraising training? Have they run cool events? Do they raise more year over year? Do they get more sponsors? Ask about the amounts they raised. They should be able to tell you that. Here's a top tip. Don't insist someone come in during COVID. Just don't do it. I don't care what your governor says. I don't care what this situation is in your state. Just let people stay home. Let them stay home. And they could do online community events and safe outdoor donor meetings, but yeah. Don't insist that they have a degree. This is part of equity. Like, people don't need a degree to be a good fundraiser. Just don't, it's like, don't try to say, oh, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Why? My bachelor's degree is in gender studies and poetry. I did not learn how to fundraise in college. Like, Abigail, same?
Mine is in animal sciences.
And yet we are incredible fundraisers. How did that happen? Anybody here major in fundraising is a bachelor's? Curious.
I have a master's, but not a bachelor's.
Gender studies, yeah, Jamie. Woo, Ashley, nope. Yeah. And Bassam said, can you define instant results? Yeah, so my ex-boss told me the second month I was there, where's my $1 million grant? And I was like, dude, that's no. He was kind of joking, but not really. Danielle said, not an undergrad, but master's. Rachel said, took a fundraising class as part of my nonprofit management science degree. It was intense.
A lot of them are intense. There's a lot that goes into fundraising that most people don't pay attention or realize.
Jackie just wrote something awesome in the chat. I want everyone to read it. That is so good. Opposite of what I went to school for, lol. I get so much pressure. You get pressure to get another degree. Ashley, push back against that. Myron, I think we could maybe or maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll be sharing the recording.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for like being so active in the chat. This is really feeding me. I love this. I'm an extrovert. I'm like, oh, it's so fun. Okay, so now here's a strategy to save the planet and save money. And who decided 40 hours was necessary? Let people work 3 to 4 days a week from home. Why? There's so much research behind this. So a longer commute is so to decrease productivity exponentially. An independent article said this, people who have no time to exercise, eat well, or sleep enough, they're commuting significant length of time every day, right? All that stuff, right? On top of that, New York Times has an article, working from home allows staff to rest and recharge on the day that they do it. This de-stretching is critical to the staff health, and you'll find people use less sick time. You'll achieve a similar outcome, and people are seeing this in Iceland and other places. I think also Portugal is doing this with a 6-hour workday instead of an 8-hour workday. Like, so I know unions fought for an 8-hour workday, but like now, like, that's just, I'm not really productive more than 4 hours a day. I'm just not. Abigail, what about you?
So I don't know if this is something I heard somewhere, but I call it my genius hours, where from like 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., I am super productive. I can get anything knocked out. But after that, I schedule meetings because my brain goes blank.
Yep. We're really not supposed to be working this hard so long. I mean, like, even studies have shown, and there's a book called Laziness Does Not Exist, which I'll tell you about later, where she's like, even people are working in factories, they're going to find a way to goof off after 4 hours, basically. Except for Amazon workers, and moment of silence for sadness about Amazon workers. So what I have here is the feelings wheel, and this was a game changer for me during the pandemic, and I wanted to share it with you. I'm actually getting this made into magnets, and like 8x8 magnets, and like sticking them on my friends' fridges so that we can all like talk about our feelings and feel our feelings. The reason it's really important for you to name your feelings is because the more that you know what makes you happy to do, the more satisfied to do, the more you're going to be able to articulate what you need in a job and help other people articulate that as well. When you have that self-compassion, when you're actually aware of your feelings, then you'll have compassion for others. And so this helps you become aware of what you're feeling, not just happy, sad, surprised, but oh, I'm feeling joyful, I'm feeling interested, or hopefully that's how you're feeling right now. Or maybe you're feeling confused or perplexed. Like, there's so many different gradations of feelings that we don't know about. So yes, I'm in therapy. Why did you say that? Why? Okay, it helped me during the pandemic. Okay. So I talked to somebody who works at the YWCA over the weekend, and he said, hey, we have like 2 tiny cubicles now. That's all we have. Everyone's working from home. And we are a 2 million person city. So There you go. So according to The Guardian, subtracting 1 day a week where employees don't have to commute can reduce their carbon footprint by 15%. So if you care about the environment, then you should definitely not make people commute. Oh, I'm glad you like that. Oh, yay, Mina. Yeah, Mina said this. Do you want to share what Mina said? Because she only sent it to us, Abigail.
So Mina said that her org is remote and they get afternoons off on Fridays, which I think is amazing. And it's been a huge difference in the staff's mood, retention, and so on.
Mina,
It's awesome.
I wish everybody would do that. I wish everybody would do that. Okay, so how to reduce employee trauma right now. This is a huge thing. We are all traumatized by the pandemic. Even if we haven't lost anyone, there's just this huge weight on us. And there's so many other things we're mourning. We're mourning a loss of our plans, loss of our time with friends and family, loss of relationships. Like friend breakups are real, let alone other kinds of breakups. So I'm gonna invite you to do this now as an employer. Let people take off as much paid time as they want. I don't think you're gonna abuse it. I really don't. Prove me wrong. Invest in a DEI firm with budgeted KPIs and outcomes for every manager and senior level position at your org to get them on the same page about what needs to change inside the structure of your organization. So KPIs are key performance indicators. I just wanted to do that. There's 2 books that I think would be really valuable for everyone to read is Laziness Does Not Exist and Work Won't Love You Back. These were 2 of my favorite books last year. It just came out. I really love them. And they're why we ask people to work so hard and why we need them to stop doing that. That's 2 of the reasons. So I also ask people to think about intersections of oppression and yeah, there's some more things here. We could talk about nurturing inclusion, centering marginalized voices. Is there somebody from the people that you serve on your board? If not, why not? Recognizing intersectionality. So there's intersecting oppressions. There's sexism, there's racism, there's classism, which is a big thing in nonprofits we don't talk about. You know, there's all of these things that make us not good places to work sometimes. High expectations, you know, maybe we lower expectations right now. Examine your biases. And so I'll give you some resources about that. Supporting mental health and well-being, mobilizing positive social action. We all make Friday the day we send a petition for something that we want. You know, challenging power and privilege. Why are we set up in this hierarchy? Maybe we could do it differently. So I just found out about this nonprofit in Seattle yesterday. They're paying all their workers $70,000, all of them. I'm gonna have this guy speak at my conference. He and I are talking. Like, we're doing this. I just was like, ah! Good. So someone else is thinking about income inequality that happens with organizations. Oh, wonderful. Mina, everybody see what Mina just wrote here? This is incredible. Oh my gosh. Unlimited pandemic leave. Nurturing Inclusion Toolkit. Adolf, yeah. So this particular one comes from CanadianEquality.ca, and I'll type it in the chat. And I actually know them, and I'm going to be helping them do their equity conference. Check them out. They probably have a whole thing. So let people keep their cameras off in online meetings because, oh my God, is anyone else tired of Zoom? Stamp out toxic positivity. What does that mean? So my mom raised me like this. I don't know, maybe you can relate. Other people have it worse, Mazarine. Just stay positive. Don't compare yourself to others.
Don't validate your feelings.
Just invalidate my feelings. That's great. So this is toxic positivity can sometimes be happening in our organizations or at home, right? Mm-hmm. You can tell other people, I love you through all your emotional states. Or you're so resilient and your strength will get you through it. Or you're not alone and there's support to help you. It's okay to cry. We all do. Can I get you a tissue or a hug? So these are some things to think about when it comes to acknowledging this has been really hard. It starts with self-compassion and then it moves to other people. Anything else you'd like to share, Abigail, about how this has affected you in the last couple of years?
Oh, I think specifically with COVID, I had toxic personality. For a solid 3 months, I was like, we just need to get through it. It's okay. I'm doing way better than others. I just need to be positive. And I actually went to therapy and my doctor was just like, well, you can feel that. why can't you feel that? And I think going into that mindset with all of our clients, everything I'm doing, it's a lot easier to have like, oh, I can feel that. And then I can move on once I feel it, like letting it be. That's really important for everyone's mental health, I think.
Feelings just want to be felt. Feelings are innocent. Just like a baby crying, the baby just needs to cry, right? Probably something is wrong. You check and see if there's something wrong. If there's nothing wrong, then they just need to cry for a while, So inside, you're just like that baby. Can you hold yourself lovingly like that baby? So when you tamp down one feeling, you tamp down all your feelings. That's something else to remember. If you want to feel more joy and more love and compassion, then feel your rage, feel your anger, feel your sadness, feel all of it, because otherwise you just live like this very narrow, sad life where you don't really feel feelings. That's why we started with feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we started with the wheel of feelings. So I'm still working on that because target positivity is still part of my personality. So just letting you know, I'm not perfect. And so look at the markers of white supremacy in the workplace. So if you like Google white supremacy workplace culture, Okun, you'll find the PDF that I've linked below. One of the best ways to address kind of why we do this, why we try to not feel our feelings, is because of that, because we are based on that. So, don't ask people to raise their own salary. Be prepared to offer 6 figures or 50 plus an hour. If you want to keep your good person, don't ask people to raise a significant amount of money in the first 2 years. Why do I say this? Because so Ellen Bristol of the Bristol Strategy Group has a whole survey on who keeps their fundraisers and how much money they raise. And it turns out that LDS, aka the Mormons, keep their fundraisers and raise more than just about everyone. And I'm like, why is that? Well, I mean, LDS has tithing. We know that. But also their first 2 years with their fundraisers, she called them up and asked them how they did it. They don't ask them to raise any money at all. They just want to train them. That's it. That's how they do it. So that's why I'm telling you that. I'm not telling you that because I think, oh yeah, give people no accountability and just like give them money. No, like they actually really take responsibility for people's nurturing, mentoring, and training. So
Nadine just posted in the chat about how she took the position optimistically, and it's part of a development director role. And her optimism is 0 because she's had no training, very little support, and the pandemic. So looking case scenario.
Exactly. So everybody, this is something that you're seeing in real time is affecting the people here. So if you're in charge of hiring, please pay attention to what people here are saying. It's not just me flapping my lips. It's other people. You want to keep your good fundraisers. And I'm sure between all of us, we've raised millions and millions and millions of dollars. Think about how you're nurturing them right now. So writing that job description, essential years of experience raising money, absolutely. Inessential, college degree, as we talked about, passion for the mission, inessential, experience raising money for your exact cause area. If I can raise money for the Harlem Jazz Museum, who's one of my clients, then I can also raise money for domestic violence or a hospice in Quebec, which I've also done. So when your fundraiser is there, here's a game-changing move. Here's how to keep them. Allow people to rewrite their job description based on their strengths. Game changer. If you show them that you care about what they really, really love to do and are good at, they will want to stay with you. So if you don't know what their strengths are and they're not sure how to start with that, there's a wonderful book called Go Put Your Strengths to Work by Marcus Buckingham. You can just check that out. I've also written a blog post about it if you don't have the energy or time or inclination to read yet another book, which I completely understand. So do that. Where do you find them? Bunch of places. I like Simply Hired because you can search by how much people are willing to pay. And a lot of times nonprofits are coy about that number. And that really is kind of a move that is going to come back and bite you in the butt. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Tell about how much you're willing to pay. Just put it out there, and then people won't waste their time and they won't waste your time. Your time is important. So check these out. And then key interview questions to get the best person. How much have you helped raise before? Unless it's already on the resume, then you know. What would you say is your best fundraising strength? And then what fundraising task would you rather not do? Then here's questions you should be prepared to answer. How do you celebrate what's working here? This is good for any job, not just fundraising. Who will I learn from and how? What do you do when things get stressful? How willing are people to help each other here? Who is held up as a hero and why? All of these questions are workplace culture questions. Just checking the time here. Is there anything in the chat I should be aware of, Abigail? I haven't really been paying attention to that.
So we do have a question. Understanding the ecosystems of the organization and donors in the context of where the org is physically operating, is that not essential?
You know, I think it's less essential because people can learn about the context of your organization as they go along. Only in the nonprofit sector do we insist on trying to basically prioritize our mission over other people's interests and passions. And I don't think that's right. I think people should be able to learn. People don't ask programmers like, hey, do you really care about X, Y, or Z before they hire them? They just say, hey, can you do the job? And the same is true for doctors, and the same is true for nurses, and the same is true for like hotel maids. Like, why is our sector the one that's like, well, you have to ultimately be so embedded in this movement that if you're not, then you don't matter. Like, you're really like missing out on some good people that way. I hope that answers your question. Other things people are now asking, because it's the job seekers market now. It's not your market, it's the job seekers market. How are you supporting your staff during COVID? Be prepared to answer that question. How is DEI woven into each person's job description? Be prepared to answer that question too. How willing is the board and executive team to help fundraise? Be prepared to answer that. Do you let staff talk to the board? The correct answer is yes. The correct answer is yes. Why is the correct answer yes? Because otherwise, bad stuff could be happening and the staff will have no recourse. They will just leave. Can you name 3 people who formerly worked at the organization who would be willing to give you a reference as a manager? Game changer. Now, if you're like Nazarene, if anyone asks these questions, I would just not hire them. I want you to ask yourself why. Why would you do that? Are you thinking that maybe these are insubordinate or what? You know what I mean? So setting goals with your fundraiser, and you can use this to write the job description. Outreach numbers. How many people did they reach out to in the first 3 months? In person, on outdoor events, or phone calls, or online meetings, or online? How many people are they reaching through Instagram, Facebook, somewhere else? Are they adding names to your email list? You can make this part of the job description. Media reach numbers. Is there a media relations spreadsheet? Number of times featured in the media, things like that. You can ask them that as well. Creating that one-page fundraising plan, that can be part of their job description, just making a one-page fundraising plan. So getting dates, numbers, and timelines, right, for grants, appeals, donation, cultivation, and retention, events, monthly giving, sponsorships, major gifts, and stuff. So if you're like, Nazarene, I have no idea how to make a one-page fundraising plan, but that sounds like a really good idea. How do I learn? I actually have a whole course just on that. It's like a 4-module course, and it's on my website, and I'll just put that in the chat. So you can check that out. But if your new fundraising hire doesn't know how to do that and needs, like, this is an affordable way to get them to get some training instantly. So then once you've done that, once you've created that plan, then create targets from that baseline and test other fundraising methods as well. So just do what you've done before. This is COVID time. We need to be doing things a bit differently. Asking for major gifts over Zoom is one of those things. Texting people instead of emailing them because people are sick of emails is another thing. So yeah. Does this make sense to everybody so far? Like how to write your job description? It's also based on what the first 3 months of results are going to be. Okay. in job descriptions right now, what I'm seeing is people requiring people to get vaccinated. And I think that's actually a really good requirement. I just think in general, I think people should be doing that. If you disagree with me, that is okay. So asking them to do donor cultivation meetings in a safe way, going through the database and looking at RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary value, how many times people have given, when they gave last, and then how much they gave. Those are the 3 things you should be looking at to see who you should be meeting with. And then get 50 people from your database, and then working with an experienced asker or board member on setting meetings with donors who give often, who have given recently, and those who have given a significant gift. And so how okay is it for your fundraiser to ask for help? This is part of how you evaluate them and how you write this job description. Maybe they can create systems for you. Is there a system to create your newsletter? Is there a donor thanking system? Do you have a process for your appeal letter? Is there a system to research and track grants? If you don't have those yet, that could be their job to make them. And then there'll be like a brain that people can just leave when they go. And then first 12 months goals checklist. So like outreach numbers, online and offline, media reach numbers, online and offline, creating the 1-page fundraising plan, donor cultivation meetings, systems research and creation. So these are, in fact, not actual money raised. I want you to notice that. These are just building relationships, getting the word out about what you do. I think you said something before we started recording, Abigail, that I want you to repeat, if you would, about marketing and fundraising. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I tell it to almost all of my clients. So I am a marketing and fundraising nonprofit strategist. So when I bring clients in, I tell them that the majority of my packages are marketing and fundraising, because you cannot fundraise without marketing. And the primary source of marketing is to focus on fundraising to raise dollars. So that's why marketing and fundraising go hand in hand.
That's right. So this is a lot of marketing and not so much acting. But you don't want to ask before you have a relationship, and it takes time to build that. And marketing will help you do that, because people who hear from you consistently have more of a reason to care about you. So checking in at 90 days. If you want to keep your good fundraiser, I'm giving you even more than I promised in this webinar. I just want you to know, checking on the time. Unreasonable expectations are asking for a huge major gift, getting $1 million grant, like I said before, getting tons of big sponsorships for that event. They don't have those relationships yet. Doubling your appeal letter return, meeting with 50 donors. Unreasonable. You can try to set meetings with 50 donors, but you're probably going to meet with 10 of them, maybe. Recruiting 3 volunteers to help with fundraising, getting a front page article in the major newspaper, unlikely. Asking them to fill the hole in the budget or raise significantly more in any area. Unrealistic. Don't do it. Please don't do any of these things. Instead, reasonable expectations. So I want to give you a joke here. This is Phoebe and what's his name? From Friends. She says reduce. He's like, reduce. Employee, workloads, reduce employee workloads. He's like, mental health webinar. Like, no. You get it? That's not going to fix it. Joey, thank you, Judy. Thank you, Falar. Thank you. I've never watched the show. It's pretty bad. Joey and Phoebe are having a little engagement here. And so please reduce people's workloads now and for the next 3 years, because we are still in COVID freak out mode. Okay. So working with the board to create a 1-page fundraising plan with realistic goals, 1 to 2% more based on last year's numbers. That is realistic. Denise, I do have an example of a 1-page fundraising plan, and you can get that with my course. And I put the link in the chat. Reasonable expectations at 90 days, creating systems or refining them around communications, grants, and events. Researching and applying for 1 grant, meeting with the development committee. Those are reasonable. Reduce employee workloads, reduce employee workloads, reduce employee workloads. Not mental health webinar. So this is Bernie, and you know the Bernie meme, or some of us do, Bernie saying, I'm once again asking you to give to my campaign. I want you to this is Bernie as an emo kid saying, I am once again going through it. His mascara is running down his face. To keep a good nonprofit staff person, you need to understand that we are all going through it right now. So be gentle with them and gentle with yourself. Gentle with yourself first. Honestly, naming your feelings is part of that. So bottom line, pay $50 an hour, allow for a 4-day work week or a 3-day work week, allow flexibility and lots of vacation, give a professional development budget, help people find a mentor and training. You have 2 people right here who are on this webinar who love doing that. We love doing that. We will do that. Just talk to us. Allow them to rewrite their job description to focus on their areas of greatest strength. So poll question, next poll question. What will you do to start this process by the end of the week? Is it create a board fundraising agreement? That will help them. Start creating a 1-page fundraising plan for the year. Look at fundraising job descriptions to start to write ours, or all of the above.
Seeing a lot of 1-page fundraising plans coming in. Quite a few who are saying all of the above.
Good. 1-page fundraising plans are, this is the perfect time to make them. Freaking January, right? Like, do it. I love it. All right, let's close the poll and then we'll have time for more like chit chat and networking and stuff, and all that. So here's some books you can get. This is one that I wrote that is, I think, quite good, but obviously I'm biased. If you want it, you can check out mazarinetrays.com/shop. It's right there. It's also on Amazon. I have a whole page on careers with career resources. These are like free articles for you, and nonprofit management resources and leadership resources right there. They're right at the top of my blog. It's like little clickable links. So if you go to mazarinetrays.com and then go to writing, right there. So we already have A and B 1-page plan. So thanks for attending today. I love to help you get that next fundraising hire and knock it out of the park. I'm also happy to like help you find a better job. And you know, so if you want to have a chat, just go to bit.ly/mt free30. I'll put that link in the chat as well. And yeah, let's have, oh, awesome. You're so welcome. Margaret, Daphne, you're so welcome. I love that we already have questions coming in. This is so good. If you want to chat with me, go to that link I just put in the chat. We can talk. Bassam said, I understand the resources needed for a fundraiser to do their job include salary scale. When should we expect a bump in income? 1 or 2 years? I would say they're going to go above and beyond for you. And that this is something that they will do if you show them the things that I said to you today. So you'll probably see it in the first year, but don't tie that. Also, I mean, inflation in the US rose 6% last year. So if you haven't gotten a 6% raise, you've gotten a 6% decrease. And I want every single person on this webinar to think about that. Think about that. Okay, if you haven't gotten a 6% raise, you're now getting underpaid. You're probably already underpaid, let's be honest. So look at inflation and give people at the very least raises based on inflation. Oh, you're so welcome. Adolf, Julie, Nokwe, Nadine, Myron, Jennifer, Bruce, Bassam, you're welcome. Danielle, yeah, Jamie, I'm so glad you liked it. Anyone else have any other questions? And if so, you know, I'm here to answer them, and we have lots of time to answer your questions.
Yeah, throw them out.
Ah, Ligia, thank you. Thank you, Pilar. Thanks, Mina.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if one of our participants is in a position where they are underpaid, how do you go about that discussion with their executive director?
I'm sorry, can you say it one more time? I was distracted by a question. Sorry.
That's okay.
I apologize.
If somebody is underpaid and they're doing the work, they're seeing results, how do they go about the discussion of creating the pay raise that they deserve?
I have a whole webinar about that. I have like many things you can say. I have a script for you. I have so much to say about that. I don't know if I can answer that in the time that you've given me. So I think we should just have another webinar about this, Abigail, honestly, like because asking for more is one of my favorite things to talk about, you know? So in a nutshell, if I had to really try to get this into just one tiny thing, I would say, look at salary.com, look at your job description, look at your region, and then look at how much people are being paid. Are you at the bottom of the curve? Are you at the top of the curve? Are you somewhere in the middle, right? And then you can take that data to your boss and say, according to my research, I would just like my pay to reflect the amount that I am raising for you, and just bring it back up to the median for this region. You can bring them data and say that. And Jennifer, you can get my fundraising plan in my course. And if you go to my shop, you can find it there. And I just put that link in the chat.
Okay, Pilar has another question. So
Yeah.
they're curious to see what you're seeing from employers in terms of increasing benefits. Recently read that some organizations are increasing 401k/403b contributions. Have you been seeing that?
Yep. Organizations are increasing benefits across the board. And, vacation is just one piece of that. So if you feel like you can't offer people a lot more salary, or up to like the 6-figure range or the $50 an hour range, which you still should, there's other things you can offer them. You can offer them, as people in this webinar have already said, money for school. You can offer them work from home indefinitely forever if they want it. You can offer them better healthcare benefits. Some people do not cover healthcare benefits at nonprofits. Some people are only covering medical, but not dental or vision. You can get them to cover that. So other things you could be offered include a gym membership. Maybe that's not really safe during COVID, but maybe after COVID is over. You could offer people 3-day work weeks. Like, there's things that don't cost you anything to offer to people. So yeah, people are definitely offering more. And as another person said, they're offering people unlimited time off for COVID related things. Do that, be as compassionate as you can with your workers and with other people.
I love that.
Question on the Q&A.
Yes. So we have another question. Fundraising in the global north is way different from the global south. Any quick tips on how to best negotiate the space if you're doing fundraising in the global south?
Wonderful question. I do not have a lot of experience fundraising in the global south. So the short answer is I don't know.
Unfortunately, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you should be prepared to offer people as many benefits as possible to keep them, because as we've seen today, if you don't keep them, they're going to be looking for another job very quickly. That is for sure, no matter where you are in the world. I would say that if you can't afford to pay people more, then I would definitely say do the other benefits that we just mentioned. For fundraising in the global south as well, I've talked with fundraisers in Bolivia and Peru, and they work for a lot of like NGOs from the global north, like the Nature Conservancy and things like that. So that's why I really don't have any experience in answering your question. I'm sorry, I do not know.
Okay, any other questions? I love this time. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Like, love that we had so many people here, and now we have so many people just sticking around. And if you want to chat with me, I'm happy. I'm down to chat. Like, we can keep talking about this. Like, this is not over. So unless you want it to be.
Okay, well, I have a couple more slides that I want to jump on here, and then we can wrap up. So I just want to throw this out there for CauseVox. This is a key contributor to one of their sites. And he writes, the flexibility of the platform allows me to create campaigns that look and feel like it's part of my native website. That goes a long way for donors' trust and conversion. And that is very true. So if you guys want to take advantage, we have a sign up for free or a 7-day trial for any of the paid plans. You can book a one-on-one demo. I will send a link in our follow-up email. There's plenty more digital fundraising best practices on causevox.com, and you can find more webinars like the one from today and just learn more. It's always fun to learn more. So I really want to thank everybody for coming. It's been a great session. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat.